All right, welcome everybody. We are finally back with another episode of the week's End Tavern. It's been a little bit of a break. I was super busy with the Cata launch, but we are back and we got a ridiculously packed show for you. Hando is here as always. How are you doing, Hando?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me again, of course. And you're not all to blame. I had a little scheduling conflict as well.
Yeah,
I
it's
remember I was tired one night, so
yeah, I mean, I feel like I haven't been sleeping that much lately. Just, grinding out all these characters, grinding the reps. I'm like seeing dead minds in my sleep. That Vanessa Van Cleef nightmare, it's creeping into reality. What have you been up to, Ando? Obviously playing Cata. Specifically though, what have you been working on?
I've been a big Cata enjoyer for sure. I'm enjoying it more so than I even thought I would, which is insane because I was definitely looking forward to it this go around. Um, my guild didn't have a warlock for the first set of raids, so I'm kind of up in the air. I didn't know what to play. So I leveled a few characters, and I wasn't enjoying the warlock at all at first, and it's kind of just like growing on me now. So, like pet weaving and stuff like that, I don't know. It's just kind of growing on me a little bit. However, my favorite to level and to play so far was the arms warrior by far. It was awesome. I mean, obviously, there's no like comparison to blood DK and how like powerful you feel. Uh, but like fun factor, I had a lot of fun playing the arms warrior. But I've been doing that, and then raided with my guild. We did all normals. We tried a few heroics and stuff, but we're limited on time. Uh, so we just kind of worked it out. Saw the fight for the first time. Limited PTR testing. None actually for this group.
That's very limited, yeah. Zero.
Yeah, yeah, very limited. Yeah, very limited. How about you though? I know you've been packed, so maybe that will take like 10 minutes to just tell us what you've been doing this week or these 2 weeks.
Man, it's been a lot. So I've leveled 3 blood DKs. I've geared all of them up to a level where they could start raiding. I've done raids on all of them. And now we're kind of entering just maintenance mode. Uh, Mostly raid logging mode on those DKs, and we're working on prop allies next. That is the next frontier. Um, but my guild participated in the race day one. We got World 14th, US 6th, so that was pretty exciting. I had never like raced before, so like I had never had a placement anywhere close to that before, so that was pretty cool. We definitely could have done even better. We just had a couple stumbling blocks on like Nefarian and Ascending Council, but overall, it was solid. I felt like we did pretty well for like the amount of practice we had. But Firelands looking to do even better.
Yeah,
But
that's awesome. How would you rate your first experience with that? It seemed like, from watching the stream, you're really in your element there.
yeah, it was awesome. I mean, I like at first, like was definitely like kind of an adrenaline dump and like some nerves. Like I was like so nervous to like mess things up and like wipe the raid and stuff. But then it didn't take me too long, and then it kind of settled in and felt pretty good. But yeah, it was fun. I loved it. Definitely excited for the next one, Firelands. I mean, that's gonna be so hype. Like that's what most people that are playing Gata right now, I think, are looking forward to.
Yeah, hopefully
Fighting
we
that
get some
heroic
more.
rag.
Hopefully we get a little bit more of a testing period, right? So that you guys can get as much practice as possible because I know that helps a lot.
Yeah. What did we end up with? Like two, I think, testing weekends this time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Firelands is
hoping we
only
get a
eight
little bit more time.
bosses, so like I don't know. Firelands would probably be okay with two, but they have done like three in the past for most raids. So yeah, I mean, I mean, we'll talk about it some more later, but there were some pretty significant bugs that went live with this, so they really, I think, did need that third raid test. But yeah, just kind of unfortunate the way some things happened with the raid on live, but yeah. Overall though, like I mean, I had a blast. It was so cool actually just being able to go into the raid right at 3 p.m. Like I've never gotten to do that before in the past. Like my guild only had like 10 people on, so I was only able to do like a 10-man raid like right when it launched, which like it's always cool to like jump into the new raid, but you really want to do, the highest level of it, the 25-man. But yeah, definitely fun. And yeah, and I've been having a blast though with Cata. It's everything I had hoped it would be. So I I'm I'm looking forward to even more. Just playing the prop guys, the prop warriors. I'm even gonna dabble in some fire mage, I think. Some feral druid. So yeah,
Whoa,
yeah, we'll be
branching out here a little
we'll
bit. This
be
is
doing
crazy.
everything. And from some of the dev interviews recently, it kind of sounds like they might be thinking about some buffs to other tanks potentially. So if I have those 85 already, then if those do get buffed, I'll already have them.
Have the
But
prot warrior in the pocket. It's so much fun.
yeah, I'm excited for the Prowler. Is like, I mean, the Blood and Thunder, like you put Rend on something, then you Thunderclap puts Rend on everything. And like Rend skills with weapon damage now, and like it just does like huge damn. So it's super, super fun. Let's hop into the listener questions though, and we'll get back to the raids a bit later in the show too, the Cata raids. So
Absolutely.
first off, from Sugar Knight, can you guys give some tips and tricks for raid leading with a guild? The goal of our raid group is to properly progress through content. Also, I've never been part of a top tier raiding guild. What is the environment like? I've heard some horror stories when people make a mistake and get chewed out. How true is it? How true is that? And is it common in those upper tier raids? You want to take the first part of that, Hando?
Yeah, for sure. So tips and tricks for raid leading are understanding. I think we've mentioned this in the past. Is just understanding your raiders and their capabilities. And then one thing I like to do is if they mess up, I yell at them, and if they do good, I congratulate them. It's simple, right? No,
Easy.
but but for real, it's a give and a take, right? You want to make sure that your people are happy, and you want to make sure that you're progressing at a pace that you understand is capable of your team. So, like my team this week, I knew that they hadn't seen it at all, right? So it made a lot of sense to do fully normal, and sometimes that's all you need. It lays the groundwork for what you can, see and stuff like that. And then if you want, you can tackle it in many different ways. If your raid group has many nights to raid or whatever, you can do one night, dedicated to each raid. If you only have one night total, like our guild does, I'm thinking about possible, just cutting out Bastion of Twilight and Throne of the Four Winds and just hard progressing through Blackwing Descent, heroic, and just cutting out those other raids, let them pug them with someone else or whatever they want to do. So that's probably some advice I can give is focus on potentially one thing if you're limited on time, and look up the guides for some of the easier boss fights and try to tackle those ones first. It helps get morale up and gets loot on people's bodies, which obviously helps. But that's probably my tips and tricks. And then just make sure you have good awareness, right? Like make sure you are very vocal, and you have some sort of you know, tasks set out for those people that are able to do them a little bit easier than others, like gong clickers on Artemedius or whatever his name is. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that, right? So just make sure you give the good jobs to the good people. But I'll let you take over on the second part here because you're Mr. Top Tier Rating Group now.
I don't know about all that, but yeah, and the also one thing just to add onto the first part, like when you're a raid leader, like the entire raid is your character. So you gotta like, kind of view the raid in a different way. Like like you're not just playing like your one class, you're literally playing everybody's class to some extent. So yeah, there just has to be kind of a shift in mindset there, and you just gotta like be okay with like your parses are probably gonna suffer. There's very few people who like have the mental bandwidth to play their class perfectly and make perfect raid calls. Obviously, the perfect raid calls are gonna be the priority. That's one of the reasons I really don't like raid leading on a tank in general, just because like it takes some of my attention away, which could potentially lead to me dying or like lead to like something not getting picked up, whatever. So I prefer like the raid lead role to be like a DPS, just because generally if they aren't paying attention, like their dot falls off. They have like 95% dot uptime or something instead of 100%. So it's not like that big of a deal. But for the second part, I mean, people are definitely gonna get like shoot out for mistakes in higher tier raids because like I mean it's very competitive. Like the whole point is like you're trying to find like the best players you can for your guild to, you know, get the best rankings you can. So if people are making mistakes, doing things that are like detrimental to the raid, obviously they need to fix those or they're going to get replaced. That's just kind of the bottom line. So, I mean, it may seem like kind of hardcore, but like, I mean, that's the goal of those kinds of guilds. And like, you gotta like make sure people fix their mistakes or they're going to be gone. So that's just kind of how it is.
When I was doing Realm First back in OG Cataclysm and Wrath of the Lich King, I was in a guild that was a little bit more cutthroat as well, and there definitely was like chewing out, so to speak. But for the most part, it's also good to just take it as constructive criticism. Like some people are mean about it or more mean than others. Uh, but just honestly, take it with a grain of salt as far as like what they're like if they're actually angry or not. But take the thing that they told you and try to learn from it. Right? We grow as people, learning from our mistakes because we are going to make them. But it's what defines us is how we, come back from those mistakes and if we ever make them again.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely like different ways you can, tell people that they messed up and they need to fix something. Um, I definitely don't respond as well to people just like yelling at me. So that's not something I look for, in a raid. But I definitely do want to know when I'm making mistakes so I can fix those. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's all just like how you deliver it, I guess.
Yeah, it's definitely good to get that constructive criticism for sure. I mean, even if it comes in like poor manners or whatever, but as long as you're understanding that they're coming from like a place of passion for the most part, because they care about this quite a bit, right? It's their goals. So just take that for what it is. I've also to touch on the raid leader thing, like having them be like your character. I absolutely love being the 26th man.
Oh, it's so
But I
fun,
also
isn't it?
Yeah, but I also love playing the game, right? So I'm like
Yeah.
like I really enjoy playing the game, but when I play as like the 26th man for raids, you can see a ton more and you can understand how the like dynamic of your raid group works. And sometimes it's better to just take a backseat to understand that and learn the ins and outs of your raids and who's the strongest or who's the weakest or um who's doing more mechanics than the others or whatever it is, right? So it's sometimes it's good to take a step back and like see that, and I'll do that like once in a while in every tier, just to see how the group's doing
Yeah, it's crazy how
as an
much more
overall.
you can see like when you're not actually focusing on playing a character yourself. Like you're just watching somebody else's POV and you see everything.
Yeah,
Like so many things you would miss like live while you're like focused on playing your own class. It's pretty cool. I haven't done it very many times. Just like I think the only time maybe was like helping my guild through like Algalon or something like that when I wasn't like in the raid group or like Heroic Lich King. But yeah, I mean, it's super fun, I think.
maybe we can get some subtle coaching sessions, live coaching
Yeah.
sessions. You can watch my 10 mans or whatever, not mine, but you know what I mean. You can watch some people's 10 mans and coach them live.
Whoa. Could that be a
Be the
service?
11th, yeah, be the
Could I
11th
do
man.
that as a service? That'd be
Why
awesome,
not? Yeah,
actually.
why not? I think it would be fun too.
It would be fun as hell, yeah. That'd be awesome.
There's always a market for everything, right?
True. True. All right.
All right.
So last question we have from viewers today. This will be a pretty fun one. Momodin asks, how many of the Cataclysm Heroic Dungeon bingo points did you get so far? And then linked a Cataclysm Heroic Dungeons bingo. So we'll just go through this real quick and let me know like which ones you have. I'll mark mine in red and yours in blue, I guess. So on Ramog Bone Crusher, someone dies to Skull Crusher and blames tank slash healer.
I would have to say that's a half for me because they have died
Yeah,
on it, but they haven't blamed the tank or the healer. Is that a half? Is that a half point?
that's definitely a half for me. I guess we'll say 1 point for like if there's no blame, and then because I think like a lot of these have blames the tank and healer, which
Yeah, absolutely.
honestly, like I feel like that doesn't happen a lot, at least in the groups I've been in. But some of these other things definitely happen a lot. So we'll do 2 points if there was blame also. So he's first boss in Blackrock Caverns, for anybody who doesn't know, and that's like the thing he charges up after the chains, and so give yourself a point for that if applicable. On Corla, Herald of the Titans, 3 Twilight Zealots evolve in the same fight. I mean, if you count players, I think this is actually one for me. 'Cause,
I've
like,
only had two if you count players. I've had one Twilight Zealot evolve quite often, uh, but but players is seems more often than the Zealots itself. Like I've
mhm.
had two players at a time, never three.
Yeah. I want to say day one. We had a disaster run day one where like we were all fried. It was like 2 a.m. We were all fried from like leveling the entire day. And we stepped in there. Nobody's like DBM was working, and like we a lot of things went wrong. But yeah, I think it was 3. It could have been 2, but yeah, we like it felt like there were a million of them. On Karsh Steelbender, Tank leaves Karsh inside the stream of molten metal without even trying to move it out once. I mean, this is gonna be a 0 for me because I'm always a tank and I just don't do that. But what about you,
This
Hando?
this isn't it for me. This isn't it for me. I've not only had it where he leaves him inside the stream and we wipe, but I've also had a tank that did not ever put him in there, and I had to like taunt it out.
Oh,
Like
nice.
so, I've had
Yeah,
both ways where you're just like doing zero to him, right, and then you're just dead.
that's why they call you both ways, Hando.
That's my nickname actually. Yes, many people call me
On
that.
on Obsidious, DPS tries to AoE ads. Someone dies because they had 4 stacks of Crepuscular Veil. Is that actually what it's called? I've never
I
read
guess
the
so.
debuff name. Is that what is crepuscular? That's a
I
ridiculous word.
I have no idea, but it sounds good to me.
I love it. I love it. It sounds a little gross, but I like it. And blames tank slash healer. I haven't seen this. Like normally I just AoE everything, so it's all on me. And as a blood decay, like blood shield isn't affected by the healing reduction, so you just like never take damage because he doesn't do a lot of damage. So you're just like invincible, even like tanking all of them.
This isn't it for me as well because I've had a DPS in our group that hit all of them, ran away with all of them, and then just basically died in a corner. It was an interesting thing. He did not blame the tank or the healer, but it was a maneuver for sure. It was a maneuver for sure.
Let's see. On Glub Talk, DPS dies to Firewall and blames tank slash healer. Glub Talk. Oh, first one in Dead
First boss of
Mines.
Dead Mines. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, no blame, but definitely seen people die to that. I assume you have too.
no deaths on Globe Talk
No
ever.
way. No
It's
way. You're
crazy.
trolling. You're
No,
trolling.
no joke, no joke.
Hmm.
I don't know if I've done dead mines nearly as much as you though.
I've done a lot of damn dead mines. The so the craziest thing is like half the time I queue into it, like I'll be queuing with, 3 people, 4 people. We'll queue into a like half finished dead mines, and then we're like, hey, what happened here? Because like there's one person in there that like requeued and got all 4 of us put in there. And they're like, yeah, after the first boss, everybody else left. So then I got more people. And then after the second boss, everybody else left. So then I got you guys. And like that's just how Dead Mines is. Like people will like kill one boss so they don't get deserter when they leave and then they're out. So I
They're
mean
like,
I
see you later.
personally love it because by the time I get in there, like it's only like a 15-minute Dead Mines at that point because like they already did half the dungeon for me.
One of my
But
favorite dead mine stories so far. Little sidetrack here. There was a guy in our group that had no idea how it worked. So we get to Rip Snarl, and he's like, "Oh, this is the last boss," and we're like, "No, not yet." So Cookie comes out of the cabin, and he's like, "Surely this is the last
surprise.
boss," and, and we're like, "Nope."
Just wait for it.
So yeah, so then we have to run through the dungeon again, right? For Vanessa Van Cleef, we kill Vanessa Van Cleef, and as soon as we finish, one of the guys in the group was like, "Now we got to do the whole dungeon again." I was laughing pretty hard because you really do a lot right there on that ship, and then you have to get back to the ship.
Yeah.
It's
I
a
mean the
ton.
ship's sort of the halfway point, honestly.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
when you reach there, because you gotta do 3 bosses, and like I mean, Vanessa just takes forever. But I mean, that's
Yeah,
such
she
a
does.
fun fight. Like when you have pugs in there, that is my favorite time to just watch what people are doing. Like people are running into fire, people are running into lightning, people are going flying off the ship with like the speed boost you get. People are like getting blown up by Vanessa at the end of the fight. People are like, um, falling off the ship when they try to like click the rope, and like just everything is so good.
Most of my groups are doing the like stand on the very tippy edge, so you don't even have to use the rope
Yeah.
tech.
Yeah, that's what I've seen
Uh,
too. But I'm just
yeah,
waiting
they
for
don't
the
want
day they like fix that and then we all just die and we have to like redo everything.
to. No, you have to be rope gamers. That's it.
I always take the rope after the fight. Like when she does her like suicide bomb thing, I just do like the rope as like a, little fun victory lap thing.
That's right. You got to do it.
Because it's just fun to, swing on it. On Helix, 3 or more people died of bombs. Uh yeah, 100%. 100%. I saw this more
Yep.
on P server, I feel like, but like on P server, a lot of things in Dead Mines do way more damage, and like almost everything in there, I would be like one of like, 2 or 3 people left standing on like every fight.
When we did our first run, this happened. We definitely had 3 people die, and they're like, "What happened?" This is one of the ones that they blame the healer. Funny enough,
Oh,
they're
really?
like, Yeah, I need more heals."
Awesome. Foe Reaper 5000 DPS that jumped on Shredder. Don't know how to control it. Deal less damage than the healer. Um, I don't know. I don't really pay attention to them. I don't know if they're doing damage or not.
I
Honestly.
don't know if I've had them do less than the healer, but I've definitely had some do like very little DPS for sure.
All right.
So I'd say we skip that one.
Yeah. On Cookie, DPS grabs 10 plus stacks of nauseated, dies, and blames healer. I haven't seen that. I'm usually the one as the tank just like sucking up all the nauseated. So there's not even like, really room for them to grab that many. But have you seen that?
I have not. 10 plus is an absurd amount.
Yeah, I used to get up to that many. And then I was like, why am I doing that? I'm just going to like stay in one little like slice of like Cookie's area, and like all the melee can stand with me, and I just click anything within range of me. So like I before I was like running around like picking them all up. I'm like, why am I even doing that? So I just pick up the ones that are like in the one slice of melee that we need. Um You finish the dungeon with all other group members not having interrupted or stunned a single time the entire dungeon. Yeah. I mean, I mostly run with guildies, so like they're on top of interrupts, but the few times I've pugged, I've definitely seen this.
I play a warlock, so I don't really have an interrupt when I'm using my Felguard, unless you count the stun. So this is a big yes for me, except it's just the tank normally that's doing it, even if we have like a group of rogues, shamans,
Mhm.
literally whatever it is. Like it's just the tank, and it is like, can you guys please interrupt?
Good tank.
Yeah, good tank, bad
Yeah,
everyone else.
yeah. Um, on Umbrus, player dies to Blitz and blames tank healer. It's definitely like half for me.
Yeah,
Get
same for
like
me. Yep.
100% seen lots of people die to Blitz, but no blame, no blame.
Yeah, same for me. No blame, but definite blitz deaths.
On Eridax, DPS do not target ads; they heal boss to full. So this is the final boss in
Yep.
Grimbatul. I haven't seen heal boss to full. But we did have one time where we thought the boss was like low enough for us to just like full send and ignore ads, and we got him to like 3%, and then he got healed. So he got healed to like 20-30% or something. So I don't know. That maybe that's like a half for me.
Yeah, this same scenario that you just mentioned has happened to me twice, but the lowest we had him was like 37,000, and then he
Oh
like
geez.
not fully healed, but he healed a ton,
Dude.
and that was
That's so
pretty bad.
close.
And the worst part was it was like a group, like a guild group, and I was like, just send, just go. Like one of them was like, just send, just send. Like we totally got this. But you saw one person peel off for like I don't know 2 seconds, and you just think in your mind, oh, if that one person didn't peel off, we totally
Yeah.
had it. We totally
That
had
was
it.
it right there.
But then you got to
Oh,
blame yourself. I made the call in the end, right? I made the
yeah.
call.
On Anhur, you jump down. Oh, okay. First boss in Halls
First
of
boss.
Origination. I
Yep.
literally had no clue what his name was. You jump down, kill snakes, activate your lever, and go back up to see that the other four people stayed up top the whole time. I haven't seen that, but I have seen where like people jumped off and they just like didn't click it or anything. They just jumped off to jump off, and like the lever just didn't get clicked.
As a warlock, I have a lot of times where I'm like going down by myself, and my warlock portal's up at the top, and I could have easily clicked the lever and just teleported up top if someone aggroed the bottom things.
Hmm.
But that like almost never happens. I end up killing the snakes myself and clicking the lever. But definitely not all four people standing up top. Maybe one or two.
Hmm.
But yeah, usually this is probably a no for me.
Player dies to avoidable damage in more than 3 bosses in the same dungeon. Blames tank healer. I mean, 100% seen same person die to avoidable damage. I don't think there was any blame, but
We had a rogue in our dungeon that blamed our healer and died on three separate bosses. Absolutely, maybe even four. And the vote to kick never passed, which is
oh
wild
my
to me.
god. Dude, some people have like an add-on where like auto declines vote to kick is super weird. And then
That
just
is a
like,
weird thing to have for sure.
yeah, I ran into it a lot when I was doing like leveling alts. And like we'd get these like DK bots in uh like TBC dungeons, like in Hellfire Ramparts and stuff. And like I'd vote to kick, like it's so clear they're bots. They're always in like blood presence. They're just like spam icy touch, and like they do, the bot movement where it's like it's just so obvious when you're watching them, and they obviously don't respond to anything. And so I would like vote to kick them. And the second I clicked vote to kick, it said it failed like every time. And so then I had to get like the person who had this add on to be the one to initiate the vote to kick. And then we could finally kick them. It
Oh,
is
that is
so
so
bizarre.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely times that vote to kick needs to be done, and that
Yeah.
I would
100%.
like bots for sure. So yeah, throw me down for a marker on that one. Player dies to avoidable damage.
Boom.
It was in Halls
Uh,
of Origination, so there's a lot of bosses to die to.
oh yeah. Especially if there's no interrupts too on like the final boss like Raj, like Infernal Leap and the Flame Orb and everything.
Yeah, I think he also died to the fire ads that, like, disperse at the end and, like,
Oh
blow up.
yeah, I've seen a lot of people die to
Classic,
those. Yeah.
classic death.
At least one DPS keeps DPSing high profit Barum and ignores Dark Phoenix completely. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, not completely. I've definitely seen, like, a warrior charge back into high profit, but they did switch to the Dark Phoenix, so I wouldn't
On
say completely.
on Siamat, someone gets 3 charges of Lightning Charge and sits on Tempest Storm in phase 2. I honestly don't even know what 3 charges of Lightning Charge means. Like I don't have a clue what that means.
Yeah, this
So
is
I don't
so
know.
funny because I read the bingo card and I, skimmed through it and I looked at this one. I was like, what does that even do?
Yeah, I
Like I've
literally have
never
no clue
even
what that mechanic is. And I've
yeah,
done
so if
this
they
so many
have done it,
times.
yeah, if they have done it, I have no clue, to be honest.
On Ashbury, no one interrupts stay of execution. I mean, I'm a blood DK. I interrupt it instantly every time. So yeah, that's a no for me.
I've had people not interrupt it until later in the cast, but not the entire cast. Um, however, Vagna, a little shout out here, did kick it like right when he was going into 20%
Oh, nice.
immediately,
Yeah, and then
and it
everybody
just killed
instantly
all of
dies.
us. Yeah,
Well
so
done,
that was
Vagna.
pretty hilarious. And I feel bad because I was
It
the healer and I was
happens.
like, there's not much I can do here. Like
It
we're just
happens. It
instant dead.
happens.
So that was pretty hilarious.
On Deadmines during the nightmare, you are the only one that reaches foe repair 5,000 alive. Um, I haven't been the only one alive, at least on live. On P server, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I think the most people I've seen die is like 3.
Yep, same for me.
Vanessa Van Cleave, someone dies to fiery blaze, gets Balras, dies again. Um, yeah. If like her suicide bomb at the end counts, yeah, I've seen that.
I've seen someone get battle res, but they did not die the second time. You know what's funny about these questions too is like if you toned them down just like one notch,
Hmm.
we'd have a full blackout for sure.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, everybody's like for sure experienced like some flavor of all this stuff. It's just like the exact wording might not quite be what everybody's seen.
Yeah, like sometimes blame the healer, blame the tank stuff, like just doesn't
Yeah.
line up. Or
Like
like
I
instead of
I
three,
honestly see
two.
almost nobody talk in chat. So like there's not really blame usually. The one time I got blamed for something, I'm not even exactly sure because like it was somebody who was using like Google Translate, I think, to like talk in party chat. And they said something about the tank and something about the boss. Like, I think they were saying I did something wrong, but like the words they were using made like no sense in the order they were in. So all I pulled out of it was like something about the tank, something about the boss. I had no clue what they were trying to say, but also they were so that group was in like Vortex Pinnacle, and it was like final boss. Nobody jumped for the static cling, so the entire group was rooted. Nobody cleansed it, so then they all just died to like the AOE thing, and like that happened like twice in a row. So then like we kicked that guy. He was like the healer. He wasn't cleansing anybody, and then we got a real healer. He cleansed, and we won.
Yeah, I was
Crazy.
pretty surprised that that last boss of Vortex wasn't on the bingo card because if it was like who didn't get into the triangle, like
Yeah,
or at
I
least
mean
one to
that's
two
like
people, for
yeah.
sure they die.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the stat clings. Like every time it does that, I just immediately like zero in on my party frames. I'm like, all right, who got hit by that? It's usually at least 3 people.
It feels like no one jumps for the Quake either in Stone Core,
Yeah, the Quake gets
which
a
is
lot of
pretty
people
hilarious.
for sure.
It doesn't
I
kill you, but it
I
does
love
make you
the jump
stronger. No.
mechanics. The jump mechanics are amazing. I don't know. I heard somewhere they don't really continue these mechanics into like future expansions. It's mostly just a Cata thing, but man, the jump mechanics are my favorite for sure.
Yeah, we need more jump mechanics for sure. Give us more in War Within. Give us more.
Yeah.
We're asking for it right here, right now.
Three or more people died at invocation of flame ad exploding on them in the same fight. 100%.
Yep, yep.
So
This is
that's
me too.
Grimbatol third boss. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Uh give Hando one.
Yeah, give me one
On
on that one for sure.
yeah. On Corberus, three or more people died of standing in burrow. Oh yeah. I've only seen one person die to the burrow. I don't know
That's
about
the
you.
first boss in Deep Home, right? Yeah, only one.
Yeah, Stone Core, yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, Stonecore, not Deep Home, obviously.
On Ozra, caster DPS kills himself and blames healer. I haven't seen a caster DPS kill themselves, but definitely do some damage to themselves.
Yeah, I'm either the only caster in that group or the priest dispelling it immediately, so hasn't happened in any of my groups.
On Alteris, DPS stays downwind the entire fight. Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
Big yes for me, yep.
Oh, also on Alteris, the same DPS that was downwind all fight, out DPS is someone that was upwind. Okay, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, me neither, unless you count the healer.
Yeah. On Isis set, I think is that the magic one? Yeah,
Yeah,
all
that's the one that
three
splits up with
in
the, like,
Halls of
sky of
Origination.
or whatever.
All three DPS AoE mirror images instead of focusing a marked target. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I definitely found that, like, killing the shielding one first makes that go a lot faster, but people honestly don't care, I don't think, so yeah, I would
Yeah.
say all AoE.
And the final one. On Azumat, healer says that he's gonna go AFK on phase 2. Group starts to RU. No one DPSs and wipes on phase 3 to 70 plus stacks of Blight of Azumat. Honestly, I haven't really paid attention to this mechanic. I don't know if 70 is a lot. I assume it is based on the context, but I have no clue. I have not wiped on this though.
Yeah, if you're on phase 3, so it's like the black goo that you're standing in. It can ramp up and do a ton of damage, but because, you have that huge DPS boost and you're just totally owning Azumat, it hasn't happened to me, but this question or this square also feels extremely targeted to the editor
Oh
or
yeah,
author of this
100%.
one.
Yeah,
Like,
this is like a
this has
very
happened to him.
specific like run that they have in mind. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Um.
you could all you could almost see it happening, through his eyes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The description's great.
All right. Let's add these up quick. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Hando's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right.
You got me beat.
I got 12. Hando's got 10. There it is.
No bingos though. We have no lines anywhere that connect, so we are.
To be fair, we also didn't get a free space. So
Yeah,
I
true.
don't know.
Yeah,
I
that wouldn't have
feel I
saved
feel
us
kind
though.
of it. Yeah. I mean, it depends how things would get placed. I guess.
Yeah, true,
I
true.
don't know, but
But you definitely beat me there, and I think it's because
yeah,
you've been pumping all those characters out, and you've done so
dude,
many
I've
more
been doing
heroics than me.
so many. Yeah.
And
All
you're the
right.
tank. I often try
Mm-hmm.
not to like pug, but because you're the tank, you probably just insta Q. You're like, here we go.
Yeah. Honestly, it's like so fun. Like even pogging, like it's just good content because like I can as a blood DK, you can pretty much always keep yourself alive, like no matter how bad things are going. So it's kind of fun just to like limit test, like no, like see how poorly like a run can go, and you can like still live, you know. But mostly I run with the guild, so it's pretty smooth.
I'm fairly certain a blood DK could probably solo the last phase of Alakir on normal. like
The
just
last
avoid the
phase of
clouds
Valkyrie on
on
normal.
normal. Yeah, like if you didn't hit the enrage timer,
Yeah.
like if there's no enrage
Yeah,
timer, you could for sure do it.
the enraged timer is
This
always
is
the
on
big
normal.
thing.
This is on
Yeah.
normal, not heroic.
Yeah, I bet you could 10-man normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, the big thing would be the enraged timer. Yeah, I'm not sure if we'd be able to beat that, but yeah. All right. Well, that was awesome. Thanks for that, Momodin. So we're gonna move into the news now. We got a little sod news, and we got some War Within news, then some Mop Remix news. We'll cruise through those, and then we got tons of Cata stuff to talk about.
Tons.
So first off, they obviously we've been gone for a little bit. We took a week off, so some of this happened a little bit ago. This was from about a week and a half ago. Sunken Temple loot got adjusted in sod. Have you like checked this out at all? Did any of your items get changed?
What sod? You know, I've been pretty hardcore on Cataclysm, and I can't say that I've had the time to even like touch sod. And it's like a lot of the my raiders have felt the same way.
Mhm.
Um, so while they're taking a break, I'm just kind of taking a break from it. I saw that some of the items got changed. Like I saw the changes. Um, they look pretty good. I think it's pretty interesting for the next phase coming out. But I didn't check specifically if the items that I was wearing because I don't remember every item that I have
Mhm.
were the ones that were buffed.
Gotcha.
But
Yeah.
some of the buffs did look pretty good and definitely necessary because there was a lot of stuff going to Eid.
Yeah. Yeah. That was one of the main complaints I'd been hearing was Sunken Temple loot just didn't really feel good to get. Just didn't feel
Yeah.
like a big upgrade. So it seems like a
The
positive step.
Most people were more excited about the like random items that would like turn you into like a rock or whatever.
Oh
Like that
yeah.
they were more excited about that than like the actual loot of Sunken Temple, which is
I mean,
like that
I
definitely
can't
shouldn't be
really
the thing.
blame them. Like, I mean, an item that turns you into a rock,
Yeah.
it's kind of cool. Um, yeah, but like phase 4, are you planning to like come back for that? Like,
I
does
definitely want to
MC
see what they
interest you?
have. Yeah, I definitely want to see what they have planned for it. Um, you know, and then there's like FOMO and stuff. Like I've already gone this far, right? Like why not just
Mm-hmm.
see what they got? But it also I also have to plan around Cataclysm because that's like my main thing right now.
Sure.
So if it lines up poorly, I guess it just has to take a backseat. But the plan is definitely to at least try it, at very least.
All right. We'll just move on then to War Within. So they just dropped this new trailer. I don't know if you watched it, Hando, but it was
I
pretty
did.
cool. One of my favorite parts about new retail expansions coming out is they put out all this content, like some of the I'm sure you can appreciate like some of the art for some of these like shorts they put out. Um, like I remember, I think it was BFA. They had like a ton of different shorts they were putting out. BFA obviously wasn't like the best expansion, but like the shorts were pretty cool. Like you had the whole like Jaina one that was pretty
Yeah,
popular with the
the like
song.
Heroes of Azeroth ones, those were pretty cool. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I really feel like all those like shorts and stuff they do pre-expansion are just pretty much always bangers. They're always cool to watch.
I think their trailers, and then with the help of like Hurricane for the classic trailers, also they've just
Yeah,
been upping their game like a ton. Like I feel like the trailers are spot on.
yeah, definitely,
Like I haven't been disappointed in one in quite a bit of time, so that's good for at least
mm-hmm,
it definitely builds the hype, if nothing else.
100%. And along with this trailer, I got word that the beta for War Within will be coming out June 5th, which is actually at the time of this podcast, it's just after midnight on June 5th, so it'll be out later today. But if you got the Epic edition of War Within pre-ordered, you just automatically get beta access. So if that's something you're interested in, you can just get in right now. You don't have to like get lucky or anything. You can just buy your way in.
That's right. You can have a pin and beta access.
Pin and beta access. That pin just symbolizes everywhere you walk in the world, People will know you have the War Within beta.
Did we ever figure out if they changed like the shipping costs of that thing?
I don't think so.
Oh
I,
wow.
I think it's still
Yikes.
like $200 shipping.
Not
Um,
good, not good.
yeah, not great. All right. So yeah, I mean, I'm super excited for War Within. I really enjoyed Dragonflight. I thought the tanks were like super fun, and that's one of the main things that's important to me is like are the tanks fun? And so I'm looking forward to War Within. I'm probably not doing too much of like the beta stuff. I think I'm going into it pretty fresh. Like it's gonna be kind of the opposite. Cata was like prepping like crazy and doing all the P server stuff, the raid tests, all that stuff. And for War Within, I'm probably going in pretty fresh and not really doing much of the beta stuff, mostly focusing on Cata live stuff. But I'm super excited for this when it comes out. It looks like it's gonna be really good.
They did say they were gonna make some changes to the dragon flying or whatever, like which is like a huge thing for a lot of people. So hopefully they don't change it in such a way uh, that it's like detrimental to it. You know what I mean? Like hopefully they're all good changes. I don't think they would make bad changes, right? Because that was definitely like a huge selling point, like the dragon riding.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
hopefully it's
the
just like allowing more mounts to do it and do like tricks and
yeah,
stuff, more
yeah,
tricks.
they're I want to say I saw something like 300 or 400 mounts are going to be able to dragon red, something like
Ooh,
that.
yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, they're calling it I think like dynamic flight now since it's, expanding to other
Non-dragons.
non-dragons, yeah. But yeah, like that is one of the best additions to the game. Like it just makes flying so much more fun.
Yeah, I want to be able to mount my sea turtle, have it fly, and then also be a dragon riding turtle. Doesn't
I
have any
like it.
wings,
I
it's
like
just
it.
some magical turtle, that just does tricks and stuff. I think that'd be
A
pretty cool.
dragon turtle.
That's right. Dragon snapper. I think they have those, the pandas, right? They're like
Yeah,
half
something like
turtles.
that. Speaking of pandas, we're gonna talk a little mop remix.
Perfect segue.
So, big thing that happened was extreme frog farmers got their cloaks nerfed. So these are the people that really killed a ridiculous amount of frogs and got you know tons of power ups on their cloak. These are like permanent cloak power ups, and they got their cloaks nerfed because apparently they were way too good and Blizzard like nerfed the farm, so like other people like couldn't really catch up. And then people who didn't farm the frogs, they got access to some quests that gave them some bronze to like catch up to like try to close the
Some
gap.
bronze?
40,000,
Oh, I
bronze.
would say that's some for sure.
Yeah, decent amount, but I absolutely love this that like frogs were like how people got like powerful. And just like the idea that like every time you kill a frog, you like kind of absorb its essence and your character becomes stronger. So it kind of created this like power level metric based on frogs, where like you could say your character had the strength of like 50,000 frogs, and like it's like how many frogs would it take to kill like Garrosh Hellscream? And like we're sort of getting the answer to that. Like that's the question that's been on everybody's mind since like Mop. And finally we were like kind of getting there. It's like, okay, maybe if you kill like 1 million frogs and absorb their essence and you now have the, the power level of 1 million frogs plus a regular character. Like that could be enough to solo Garrosh.
That could be it.
But
Frog squared.
frog squared, exactly.
Frog to the
I
infinitieth
yeah.
power.
I just absolutely love this idea that the most powerful characters in the game were the ones who'd killed the most frogs. Like it was just like such a silly like metric for power.
I
But
hope in the
yeah.
future they add something like there's a class in Diablo, the Witch Doctor in Diablo 3 and stuff.
Hmm.
where they have like an ability where they throw toads, like exploding toads, and they
Yeah,
have
yeah.
like a rain of toads and stuff like that. I think it would be amazing if they just added a boss in like the War Within or something, that has had to do with like frogs killing you,
Yeah.
and it's like the ultimate revenge for these for these frogs in Miss Pandaria.
It's like amalgamation of frogs or something.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't wait to see that on like the raid boss tier list
Yeah, it better be. It better
for
be.
War Within. It's like the penultimate boss amalgamation of frogs before you fight like Zalatath.
Or at least like a quest where it has you like loot like a million frogs for like one like slightly cool transmog or something.
Yeah.
Like something that's like just totally ridiculous.
There's gotta be something with the frogs. Like is just too big of like an event now, I think. Like
That's
they always
absolutely
add
correct.
like references to these kinds of things like later on, and I think this is a prime example. Like there's gonna be some frog related content coming in War Within,
There has to be. There
100%.
has to be. I mean, these frogs were popular back in the original uh
They were,
like release of the Time Isles or
yeah,
Timeless Isle.
yeah, there were, but I mean now I feel like it's safe to say they've transcended even, you know, that like they've just become something else entirely.
Yeah, that's right.
They're reaching God status. So they also just had a change. So the cloaks, it turned out, were capped at like 200,000 stats, and these were like billed as like infinite progression, like, and programming limitations were the only things that would cause the cloaks to not go higher. But people, I guess, hit 200,000 stats. I don't know if Blizzard just didn't think people would hit that, but people did. So they raised it to 10 million. So now you can get 10 million stats on your gear,
10
which is
million, that's it. How
kind of
many
crazy.
frogs would you say that is?
I have no clue. I mean, I would assume it's like in the millions, right? I don't
It's
know
gotta be.
how many stats you get like per frog though.
We'll have to get to it with our toad experts next week and give you guys the answer. Are they
Yeah,
frogs
we'll
or
get to the
toads?
bottom of it. I don't know. They always call them frogs on here. I'm not sure
They
what they
definitely
actually
look
are.
like toads.
Do they? How can you tell the difference? I don't actually
Oh,
know.
I'm an actual amphibian expert, just not
Oh,
in
okay.
the WoW sense. Yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah, yeah. I had a lizard once when I was young, a salamander.
Okay. Yeah, so you're like
So therefore, I am an
you're
expert.
yeah, you're like a professional biologist then.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
All right. So now we're getting into the Cata news. And oh my gosh, there's a lot. So I'm sure many of you know Cata launched
Wait,
uh
when? When did that happen?
about 2 weeks ago now. Yeah. I mean time flies. I was like trying to think when it actually happened. It's it's been like 15 days now. It's just flown by. Like I only have 385s right now. I thought I was gonna have a lot more by now. Um, but yeah, we're working on the prop eyes. We will get them going shortly. On launch, LMGD got the world first level 85 in like 3 hours. And Blizzard was like actively hot fixing like the mobs he was fighting. Did you see this at all?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, so he had this like insane farm. I think he was on a dead server and he was like blocking out like his mini map and like the names of the mobs even. He like replaced their names on Plater with like type Keck W in chat or something like that. So like you couldn't tell like what the mobs were even called. You couldn't like see where he was on the mini map, anything like that. Because obviously you didn't want to be interfered with. So yeah, he basically just found this hyper spawn in Twilight Highlands. He had some people helping him out, and he just pumped through them. He was, I think, at his peak getting like 12 million XP an hour, which the final level I want to say is like 9 mil to get the
Yeah,
final level.
9
So
mil.
it's
Yep.
like less than an hour for the final level, which by this point I'm sure you guys know takes a little bit of time to get.
Yeah, it feels like once you get to 84, the like real leveling process begins. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's like it's almost the halfway point, I guess. It feels like.
Yeah, this was pretty impressive though. 3 hours. Like our podcast is almost slated to be longer than the amount of time this guy took to go from 80 to 85.
Right? Yeah, well, we're doing this. I could have had another prop pack ready to go.
Yeah, well,
Um,
you just have to block out your mini map and name them Keck
yeah,
W's in chat.
exactly. But yeah, he got his hyperspawn nerfed once. They moved to a different one. Then Blizzard nerfed that one, and then he went over to the Trogs, I believe, in Deepholm, which is like a really popular one. They did not nerf that one. Uh, People have been doing this one like crazy.
Yeah, with the
I
potion of treasure finding and stuff,
Yeah,
right?
the potion of treasure finding, so you get the tiny treasure chest. I tried this on my prop value today at level 82. It didn't feel like crazy good. I felt like I couldn't fight that many of them at once, but I might have been in the wrong area. I'm not sure. Maybe it's good later levels. I'm not entirely sure. Have you tried it at all?
I've not. I've definitely seen people camping the spot pretty heavily though.
Yeah,
Mostly
it was
paladins.
packed. It was all level 85 druids when I was there. Um,
Wow. Yeah,
just
I definitely.
farming gold, I guess.
Yeah, I remember that in like Crasserang Wilds in Missa Pandaria. There was like a spot where you
Mm,
could just like sit there and just hit Starfall, and the mobs would just die around you,
hmm
and you just loot the chests. So yeah, there's definitely stuff like that. I haven't seen any druids over there. I feel like I've seen druids probably the least out of any class. Also,
Really?
yeah, I've been seeing a lot of paladins over there though. Yeah, but overall for like druids, I feel like they're just pretty underrepresented. Same with warlocks actually. I see very few druids and warlocks. Anyway,
Yeah, we should have some stats on that pretty soon. We can see kind of what the class distribution is. I think it's gonna be lots of DKs and warriors
oh for
and
sure.
hunters. I think those are
Yeah,
probably
and
the.
mages. I've seen a ton of mages.
Mhm. Yeah,
Like
they.
we have like 9 signed up for our next raid. I feel like
Oh
it's
man,
ridiculous.
jeez.
Their
S-
mages have mages. It's like they popped mirror image from ICC.
Right.
Oh, there's just many of them.
Just summons an extra mage, like actual mage player.
Yeah, summons 2 extra
He's like, what
mages.
the hell? I was an Orgrimmar. What am I doing here? So there's a shoulder enchants are now account wide. This is something everybody was asking for. Amazing change. Really glad they did this. They were kind of pushing back on this. People were asking for this, and they were kind of like, "Oh, that's not how it was back in the day." But like, I mean, this has been billed as Cata with changes the entire time. So like, I mean, this is just a slam dunk change everybody wants. Like, for sure, do this. Yeah, this was amazing. Makes alt leveling so much better because you aren't required to quest through deep home to have your alt be effective at 85.
Yeah, I'm definitely happy about the change. It just sucks that a lot of people wasted like a good chunk of their time having both of their characters or all 3 of their characters go through the Therazane rep in the beginning. And then like as soon as you got revered with them or whatever they set you at, it's like,
Mhm.
here you go, they're be away. Like
Yeah,
once you've done
I
it with all
mean,
your
I'm
tunes.
I'm one of those people. I did do it on all my characters, but I am completely fine with it. I'm glad they're BOA now. I mean, I only got exalted on one character by the time they changed it, and I'm just very glad that none of my alts are gonna have to do that.
Yeah, for sure. And they got leveled through the process, right? You were doing deep home anyway, so whatever, I guess.
Hmm Yeah, like it wasn't like a huge loss because I mean, Deep Home was like solid XP. Um, but also, so the raids released this week, but or I guess last week at this point. Um, the helm and cloak heirlooms now will work up to level 85. So in addition to the bind on account shoulder enchants, you can now level your ults quicker too. And I mean, these things scale pretty well. Like they were already like I put mine on my Bally at I think level 81, and it was already like ICC gear equivalent stats. So I mean, solid stats on it, and obviously you're wearing it for the XP bonus. So yeah,
Yeah,
make sure you're using these. No
no
meta sock.
Metasaka kind of stinks, but the
It
experience is
does.
so worth. But
Yeah,
and yeah, they do
100%.
scale at 81. When they're level 80, they're like a 200 item level or something. It's like not good. But then as
Yeah.
soon as you level 81, they're like boom, 285 or
Hmm.
whatever level they're equivalent
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. It's just one of those breakpoints. Like, I mean, you see them as you're leveling too. It's like, level 67 to 68, there's like a huge jump up. And then 57 to 58. Yeah. So, yeah, make sure you're using those if you are leveling a character right now. Best time ever to make an alt right now because you got the heirlooms and the bind on count, shoulder, and chance.
I kind of wish they allowed us to use all of our heirlooms, but
It would be
I'm happy with
nice,
this.
yeah. I mean, it's definitely pretty nice. Maybe they add that in like phase two. I could see them like maybe doing that as like a boost, like
If even
instead
just
of
for
JJ.
84 to 85, please.
Yeah.
Not all of us are LMGs.
Right. So the Cata raids released. If you don't already know, phase one has three different raids: Throne of the Four Winds, a two boss raid; Bastion of Twilight, a four boss normal raid, and a five boss heroic raid; and Blackwing Descent, a six boss raid. So you got tons of bosses to do. You're flying all over the world. Each of the raids has its own, kind of unique flavor to it. So it's pretty cool because, you're seeing different environments and, different aesthetics, the whole time. So it keeps it a little bit fresh. There's also a really small amount of trash, which I think is a big plus. Like Throne of the Four Winds literally has zero trash. Blackwing Descent has a really small amount of trash. It's like one trash pull per boss for the most part. Some of it you can even skip, like the drakes, you mind sue them, run by. Or in the case of my guild, you mind sue them, half the raid runs by, and then one person still pulls it somehow. And Baradin Hold was just released today. That's a new like VOA style raid. You can do 10 and 25 man. They are separate lockouts, unlike everything else. Everything else, shared lockout, but Baradin Hold, not shared lockout. So make sure you're doing both if you want more chances at your tier gear. It does appear to have a really inflated chance to drop PvP gear, though. It seems to be very skewed, and you're pretty unlikely to actually get the PvE stuff you probably want. So just keep that in mind. You may not see what you want.
But this is good for those people that are out there doing arenas and RBGs. So
It is good
after
for the
all, it is a
PvPers.
PvP dungeon.
True.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
at least
Uh,
it's not going to waste all the time.
Yep. So the race happened. Progress got the world first 25 man tier 11 clear. I think their run was like an hour 43 minutes. And then Dumb and Dumber got the world first 10 man clear. Theirs was like, I think it was like an hour 10 minutes. They did it like 30 minutes faster. Apparently, the 10 man bosses, if you have a really stacked group, like these bosses don't have that much HP and they just kind of fall over. Some of the kill times on 10 man are just insane. So they were able to finish like half an hour quicker because of that. Grats to both of those guilds. Well done. Very
Big
quick
grats, big
clears.
grats.
Like this tier has like reasonably hard bosses. Like it's easy to wipe. So being the first one to clear is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and
For yeah,
I
go
like
ahead.
to yeah, I also like to gauge like how fast they clear it and like compare it to my guild.
Mhm.
Uh so one 1 hour and 40 minutes means probably a month and 4 weeks for me to clear it, which is pretty good.
Is that the
On full
conversion
heroic,
rate?
that's a conversion rate, yeah. So full heroic. No, but it just seems like sometimes they just fly through these dungeons. I think I like ICC was like an hour and 10 minutes or some like wild time, right? And you're like, holy
Um,
smokes.
yeah, it was about the same. I think it was an hour 30 or an hour 40. It was like right in that range.
Fair.
But
That's
it,
probably
I mean,
the Sarfang and the Lich King RP. That's all it is.
yeah, that one was like insanely impressive. Like week one, Heroic Lich King, like in a race like condition, like it was just so impressive. Like that boss is so hard. Week one, zero
Yeah, and
percent.
even with so many reps, like something could go seriously wrong
Mm-hmm.
so easily on that fight.
Yeah. Yep. And like the enraged timer was such a big issue too. The like progress, I had talked to Creddy, their main tank at the time, after the race. He talked about kind of like how they had like, basically planned around like the boss is going to enrage, and how can we like kite him for the longest amount of time to, if the boss is at 20% HP, we can still get a kill by like doing some good ping pong taunt kiting. So like that's the level of, uh DPS check we were dealing with, where like even the best guilds in the world were potentially going to be dealing with LK and Rage for like 40 seconds, and planning for that situation. So this year we don't have anything nearly uh you know as big of a DPS check as that. The enraged timers aren't, like, as long as everybody is alive, the enraged timers aren't really relevant. It's they come into play if people are dying and you're kind of limping to the finish. So there was a major bug on Magma. This was a little controversial in the race. So there was a bug on Magma where he was just doing way more damage than he should have been doing. He got hotfix pretty quick, but some of the guilds competing in the race, they went to Magma earlier than others. So they ran into this bug and lost time to it, whereas other guilds uh, were going there later anyway, so they didn't lose any time. This did get fixed pretty quickly, like all things considered, but definitely had an impact on the race. There was also a separate bug on Magma where, like, sometimes when he flops over for the exposed head phase, he will flop backwards instead. So he's like over the lava area and is just unhittable um, by like all the melee. And that's something like Progress experienced in their kill. So they actually had everybody just stop doing damage because they wanted that perfect like push right above 30% where you just get the exposed head phase, and then you do the lust and push so that you don't even have to deal with Neff like shadow bolting the raid at all. So like just it was kind of unfortunate that during the race there were like some pretty major bugs impacting things, but maybe we get some more testing, like an extra testing period next time. So hopefully that wouldn't happen. But
Yeah, you don't want Ragnaros flopping around.
there we go. Yeah,
I did not get to see the floppy bug, but I didn't watch the entire progress POV or anything, so
yeah.
I'll definitely have to go check that out because it sounds pretty hilarious.
Yeah, and I did get a chance to talk with Visp and Cab, the tanks of progress, after, and they walked through their VOD of like the whole race with me, and they had such good knowledge on everything to like give people some tech, some tips, and like if you listen to what they say, like I think it'll save almost anybody who listens to it dozens of wipes, maybe more. Especially the stuff Cab had to say about like Neff ad tanking. that's usually the failure point in Nef pulls. Like, uh, your raid has to learn like a few things about the fight, but pretty quickly the fight just boils down to like, are ads being handled correctly? And if they are, then you just can't win. So anybody who's working on this fight, absolutely, I would say it's pretty much required to like listen to that, what Cab had to say about the Nef ad tanking, because that will save your guild so many wipes. I just can't emphasize it enough. But there was also this speed run, or speed run event and arena tournament that were announced. Progress and Noda. This was kind of weird because like Noda like officially said they like weren't playing Cata, and like a lot of their players like left to join other guilds. So I'm not exactly sure why it's like Noda versus Progress, because like Progress is obviously at the top of the pile right now. They just got the world first 25 man. Um, so I don't know what what this is gonna look like. It seems like maybe it should have been another guild, but Noda definitely has tons of fans. I'm one of them for sure. I was pretty bummed that they weren't gonna be competing with Cata, because I love watching the Noda speedruns. Like they come up with so much cool tech. Um, uh, Basically every time they like do a speed run, I was watching like Holy Pass Suite and stuff, and man, it is sad to see them gone, but yeah, you will be able to see them in this race. It's kind of a unique thing though, because they're not gonna have the best gear for this challenge. They're gonna be on like a separate server where they just get like limited time to gear up characters, and then they just like go into the raid. So it should be kind of an interesting format to like spice it up.
Yeah, I think this will probably be pretty enjoyable. Actually, I like that it's like specifically for them. I'm with you with the Noda thing. It's very weird, but they definitely have like a huge history in the speedrunning community in Classic. So hopefully they get enough people back together to at least do this,
Yeah.
and compete and give Progress a good run for their money.
Yep. Absolutely love all those Noda guys. So I was bummed when I heard they weren't really gonna be competing in Kata, but this is one way you'll be able to get to see them. Let's see, and the arena tournament, that's gonna be June 14th to 16th for the top eight. The I should mention too, June 8th to 9 is the Progress versus Noda speedrun
So
race
very soon, very soon.
coming up in just a couple of days. The last thing we'll talk about is they fixed atonement healing for priests. It now deprioritizes pets. It will only heal them if they have really low health. It will treat them as if they had 50% more health than they actually do. This is huge because, like, for example, bloodworms from blood decays, people were evaluating these and weren't really sure if they were actually a net gain, because they would soak up a lot of the atonement healing. So it became like, how much healing are they taking away from the raid versus how much are they actually doing? So with this change, this should make bloodworms significantly better, because they should absorb very little atonement healing now. I would assume they will still take some, but this will really elevate their value for the raid. So hopefully they're just a clear winner now. That's what it reads to me like, but we'll see like what actual logs look like. But at the moment, like, this looks like it should just make Bloodworms a complete no-brainer to use now.
It's definitely probably the biggest change for the Blood DK, but I also love that you spun this specifically for the Blood DK since you're such an enjoyer.
Oh yeah.
I think that's pretty hilarious.
No,
Like, it
I
definitely helps with, like, Trents and stuff too, but, like, they're the
mhm.
Treants or whatever, but, like, this is absolutely huge for Blood DKs if it if it works as it is intended,
Well,
right? With the
for blood
changes.
DK in particular, it was like, the bloodworms, they do some damage, but like the big thing like you like about them is they heal like the raid. So
Right.
when there's like atonement that's also healing the raid, but then they're taking that healing, it's like, it kind of balances out and like maybe they don't actually like help you that much. Um so like with the treants and stuff, it's like they don't heal, they just do damage. So um it just across the board, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna help a ton for sure. But like this was something that Visp actually brought up when I talked to Visp and Cap, the progress tanks. So this was like fresh on my mind that like, man, bloodworms, they're taking up all the atonement healing. Nobody else gets any of that healing. They're just eating it all up. And then I saw this change and I'm like, all right, there we go. They should be just a clear cut winner now.
You really just gotta put your powered shields on the bloodworms so that you can atone
Yes.
the rest of the raid. That's the
Yeah.
real play.
That is peak Disc Priest gameplay, is you individually just spam each bloodworm with powered shield.
Yeah, hit him with a juju while you're at it too. Might as well.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I just assumed that was, implied. You have to. Like, what, show me a priest that isn't carrying around jujus to throw on bloodworms right now.
Could you imagine? I remember when people were like summoning their wolves for enhance, and they're like, "Can you kings paladins
Yeah.
or whatever the heck they were, like whatever the heck they counted as warriors?" And it was like, oh geez, could you imagine if that was like a thing for bloodworms? Can you kings my bloodworms, please?
Wait, maybe it is.
Oh god,
Is
that's the log tech.
this
That's the
is,
log tech.
yeah, this is uncharted territory. Should I be asking for that?
Someone call Alondo up. I'm sure he's got the answer.
Yeah. Alondo would know.
Yeah, if he tanked, he would know for sure. If he
I
blood
think he
tanked,
tanks
he might have.
sometimes.
Yeah, he might have a blood
Yeah.
tank actually.
Um,
They are the cream of the crop right now, so he probably has one.
but yeah, I mean, you got anything else you want to
That's
talk
it.
about
That's
Cata
it.
related this week? I think that might
That's it.
be
I
it.
think we covered a ton here. We were, a week
We
behind,
we got
so
a lot. We got a lot.
thank you to our viewers that were being patient with us and stuff. I know there's a little bit of a delay there, but we got a ton of information out this week, and
Mhm.
I'm sorry that you guys don't get to farm your frogs, but at least people that have their pins, which hopefully is a lot of you, get to have beta access and get to enjoy Kata and the War Within beta. So lots of good stuff to do.
Yeah, good luck to all of you guys with, your raids. I'm sure a lot of you are progressing through heroics right now. So good luck with that. Hope that goes well for you. You can always check out my channel. I've got tons of, guides, commentaries, stuff like that for the raids. Like I mentioned before, to that progress interview I did where they break down like each fight. That was just incredibly valuable. Definitely check that out. But we will see you guys next week for even more WoW news. See you guys later. Thank you, as always, for listening and watching.